Of the video on installing the Goalsetter signature series. We're going to show you how to stand it up. You assemble the unit and then you pretty much stand it up on a pivoting point that is on the ground anchor. And what you want to do, you're not, as I did the base by myself. Obviously I can dig a hole and pour the concrete by myself, but when it comes time to install the system, it's a good idea to recruit some help. So yeah, that's a little humor I wanted to throw in there, but before we got started here, I'll take that. Okay, yeah, anyway, I will feed him. And anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started on this, and we'll show you how it's done. All right, now the system comes packaged with this protective tape on it. We've already got everything in position, so we can go ahead and remove the tape from the unit. This tape is to help you make sure that you don't scratch it up, but you need to remove the tape so that all the bolts will fit through. And then we'll show you each step. We'll go through each step and show you exactly what it is that you need to do to make sure that you install this correctly so that you can have a lot of fun with it. Okay, first thing we're going to want to do is take this installation clip and have it ready. Remove the pivoting pin, the nut and bolt, and remove your plastic caps, these protective caps to keep the concrete out of the threads while you are pouring the concrete. So it's good to go ahead and remove those now. Let's do that. Set those aside and have your pin ready to put in, and this is where you're going to need a helper to go ahead and install the pole to the ground anchor. Okay, this is where you this is what you have recruited your help for. We'll go ahead and have Tony grab one end, and I'm going to grab this end, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the holes that are on this the pole with the ground anchor pivoting point. So we'll go ahead and run this bolt in. So just go ahead and pick it up and move it over into position, and then have your bolt ready and slide it through like so. Okay, now you're ready to put the nut on. So just go ahead and run the nut onto that pivoting bolt, and there we go. And then what we're going to want to do is have your helper lift up on that pole. Go ahead and lift up on it, Tony. Lift, 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 lift. There you go, keep lifting. Okay, let it down, let it down, let it down. There we go. Now you have the pole in position to where the arms can be assembled to the pole. Okay, now we're ready to install the extension arms and attach them to the jack assembly. And what we're going to need to get started are the larger bolts, and you need two washers. You're going to want to have one washer on the bolt itself, and then once you get the arm in place, you will put a washer on and then put the locking nut on that has the nylon locking nut. You put that on the other side. One of the things that you want to make sure that you do when you do the assembly is make sure that all of your bolts are pointing in the same direction. You don't want one bolt in this direction and then the other bolt on top in the other direction. That will give a less than professional look on the assembly. So let's go ahead and install, and this is where you can use some help again. So grab the lower arm and bring it over and get ready with your bolt. Put it in place. And go ahead and run it through. And it doesn't hurt to have a little rubber mallet. It is lined up, but go ahead and run that on. Make sure you put your washer on and then your locking nut. Okay, and then we can lower that down easy, slowly. And then your jack assembly nut and bolt, you'll go ahead and run it on. keep it running in the same direction also. If you got the head of the bolt on one side of the system, make sure that you have the head of the bolt on the same, on all pieces of the unit. So there we go on that. Install that nut on the bolt for the, okay, and then we go ahead and grab the last nut and bolt assembly and get ready to put the upper arm on. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you put your washers on, and the nut. There you go. Let's go ahead and lower that down. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to make sure that you do when you are installing these, of course, it's kind of hard to put this one in wrong because it does have the plate that you're attaching to for this this jack assembly. So when you make sure that your lettering is facing to the bottom of the goal, because if it was turned, well, not so much on this, you can't do it backwards because of the assembly there. But this here, make sure that you don't have these letters, make sure they're reading in the same directions as the lower ones, or else you'll have it up there and you'll find your letters upside down. That's not fun. So let's go ahead and finish this up. We'll get ready for the backboard. Okay, another thing that you want to do is when you bring the actual backboard out to get ready to hook up to the goal, bring it out in the box. You don't want to scratch a nice backboard up. It is glass and it's got, you know, it's painted and everything. And what I do is I will open up the box a little bit just to make sure that it's in the right direction. If it's not, you can slide it around and not have to worry about scratching up your unit. Once you know that your backboard is in the right position, you can go ahead and run the backboard down underneath the unit. So let's go ahead and do that, Tony. Let's just slide this down. Okay, that's good. All right, and then what I'm going to do is just open up the box. The top arm is going to go on first to allow the bottom of the backboard to float down, and we'll have Tony raise this up. I got to get the bolts. Okay, let's go ahead and stand this up, Tony. Just line up the bolts on each side. Don't forget that you have a washer on the top of the nut, and then you put a washer, or I mean the bolt, and then a washer on, and then the nut. And get the other lower set of nuts and bolts and washers. And then you'll have your helper. Tony, come around to the back side here. And then you'll raise up the, again, make sure you put your washers on. And now the backboard will go in like so. You can put the nut and bolt on after you get it in place so that your helper's not standing there straining. Okay, that's good, thank you. Now the backboard is actually installed. However, nothing is tightened down yet. So what you're going to want to do is get your tools and go through and tighten all of your hardware before you actually go to stand it up. Okay, now what we're going to do is tighten up all the bolts through the whole system that we've put on, and just to make sure we don't forget anything. So go ahead, and I've got a socket, a 1/2 inch socket with a 15/16 socket head, and then I've got a box end wrench, 15/16 for the other side, and then we go ahead and run those down. Now what you're going to not want to do is over tighten these. So you just bring them up snug. One of the things that you do want to make sure that you do you want to make sure that the bolt is through the nut here, so that the nylon locking ring inside this bolt catches so that it does what it's supposed to do. That nylon piece keeps the bolt from backing off when the arms have movement. That's what the locking bolts are for. Nuts and bolts are for. So let's go ahead and tighten the top one down. Okay, again, just through the nut itself, just so that you get through the nylon ring that is inside of that nut. And then go ahead and repeat this all the way around. Don't forget, you do have this one inside here. My socket does not fit inside there, so it's good to have a good size crescent wrench where you can get inside there with it, and then finish it up with your box end wrench. And this is just like the other ones. You don't want to over tighten this. Okay, before you stand the unit up, what you're going to want to do is put this jack shaft shoulder bolt in to the raising mechanism inside the goal. There's a small access hole right here. It's got a teardrop shape to it, and what you're going to want to do is put that in and then tighten it down. Okay, after you get it tight, what you're going to want to do, this has some set screws on it. Make sure the set screws are backed out. They have provided you with these little Allen wrenches. Don't back them out so far though that they're going to fall out. Make sure that they're only out far enough to be able to get over top of this this shoulder screw inside here. So go ahead and insert your handle, your jack handle, and on the top of the teardrop shape, you'll be able to get your smaller Allen wrench in to be able to tighten those set screws down. Now if you use the long part, you will be able to turn the set screw in while it's loose, and then once you get it down far enough to where it's not turning anymore, go ahead and go to the short side and then tighten it the rest of the way. And all you got to do is turn the jack handle around and then repeat it for the other side. There are 2 set screws. Make sure you tighten both of them. Okay, that's all there is to putting the jack handle on. That's got to be in place so that when you raise the backboard up, if you don't have that in place, what happens is this whole raising mechanism inside the pole will just raise up and down as you raise the backboard, and it won't lock into place so that you can raise it up safely. Okay, now once we have the arm to raise the backboard in place, we'll be able to raise the whole system up so that we can go ahead and bolt it down to the ground anchor. So you ready to go?
I'm ready.
This is what you need your helper for. Okay, let's go ahead and stand it up. Okay, you got it?
Got her.
Okay, get that first one in there, and then we're pretty good to go on getting the rest of them in. And that way your helper is not holding up the whole system. The bolts will pretty much hold everything in place now. So let's go ahead and get our socket set. Put the last one in place here. And we can go ahead and run these down. Here you go, Tony. You can go ahead and do that too. Run these down. Now, when you tighten any large bolt when you have a socket set, and I actually have a ratcheting wrench here. When you torque down your bolts with your ratchets, only take the bolts down to as far as they bottom out, and then for torquing, use your open end part of your wrench, and you'll extend the life of your socket sets much longer. Let's go ahead and tighten these down. Okay. That's all there is to raising a Goalsetter basketball system. We'll get ready to put the rim on. Okay, go ahead and bring your helper over again. Tony, let's go ahead and raise that up there. Actually, Tony, hang on a second. Let me run these in. Let's try this. Run these in first. Have my fingers up here in place to kind of hold, pushing them out. And then run the top ones in first. And then install the lower ones. There we go. And then while Tony's holding that there, we'll put the washers on each one of those bolts. Oops. And they may be a little loose and want to come out on you. So just go ahead and run the nuts down. And now what we can do is you're going to need a level, just a small, this is called bullet level, and you'll put that in place. Now what I want to do first actually is to tighten these down. So make sure I grab the right size. It's a 9/16. We need a 9/16 socket. What you're going to want to do is just snug these up. Don't tighten them down yet, because if you just snug them up, what you're going to be able to do you're still going to be able to move that rim around. If you tighten them too tight, the rim will not move so that you can get level. Now what you can do, if you need to run the hoop up and down, you can back this nut off here, up or down, and that nut will raise the rim the place that it needs to be, at the bottom of this heavy spring. Okay, now once you have the bubble level in this direction, and it's still level in that direction, we can go ahead and tighten everything down. Okay, we got a couple more things to do here to finish the installation, and number one is to place these stickers, the height adjustment stickers, on the inside of the pole. You have a small window right on the side of the pole that these stickers will go in at corresponding heights, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. And then what I'd like to do is use a small spring clip and a measuring tape to get the correct height on the goal. So I'll go up here and place the tape on the top part of the goal. Use my spring clip to hold the tape into place. Then come down and let out some tape. I'm going to let out about 12, 13 feet here, and lock it down. Okay, so right now we are just a little bit over 9 feet, so we'll bring it down a little bit. Okay, there we go. There we are. We're at 9 feet now. So what we're going to want to do is take the number 9 off of the sheet that you received that has little stickers on it. You'll put them inside this window here. Okay, so now what I'm going to want to do is just repeat the same step until I'm at each corresponding height. And then once that's done, we can move on to putting the net on the hoop. Okay, now that we have our height settings, now we can go ahead and place the net on the rim. That's a pretty easy thing to do. All you need to do is use your hoop. Just put a little hoop on the end of the net, pull it through, and then just lock it in place. And then you'll follow the hoop all the way around and do the same thing. Just wrap it. You'll run it in, spread it out, and it'll lock right in. And then I would suggest in the probably early November that you remove your net and take it inside. You might even want to run it through a load of your whites, your laundry, and then just place it in a place indoors so that the winter does not dry rot your net, and you'll have a good net for a number of years. If you don't do that, the nets could easily rot out on you, and you don't want that. These nets aren't really that expensive, but you don't want to have to turn around and buy a new net every time you turn around every season. Okay, now there's one other thing we're going to do with this goal is we have a wrap, a safety padded wrap that goes on the actual pole here. I'll grab that. That's a pretty easy thing to do. It has straps on it. They're Velcro straps, and then all you need to do is place the wrap on your goal, hold it in place, bring the Velcro around, and once you get one in place, the rest of them just follow. It's a pretty easy thing to do. Well, there you go. That's a Goalsetter complete installation from the concrete right up to putting the net onto the hoop, putting the surround padding on the pole. Now all you need to do is just start playing basketball. This is Mike with the United Assemblers Network. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at Mike M at UnitedAssemblers.com. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. And again, if you see that this project is a little more than you want to take on yourself, you can go to UnitedAssemblers.com, and there is probably somebody in your area that can install it for you.